Hi everyone, it's Don and I hope you're having a fantastic day. Well, trying to keep in line with the new season and the end of 2020. Let's look at some more optimistic news. Royal Caribbean Cruise Line is actually setting sail today with one of her own ships. That's right, it's not setting sail with one of the companies that it owns like Celebrity. It's sailing with a Royal Caribbean ship, and it's sailing the Quantum of the Seas, the second largest class of ship that they sail. Beautiful design, beautiful ships, and it is sailing out of Singapore today. It sets sail for the first time since March. Any Royal Caribbean ship has set sail in the oceans with paying passengers. So good news for Royal Caribbean. They're excited about it. They just had a 2-day shakedown cruise where only some invited guests were allowed on board, and they tested their protocols, including tracing and emergency responses and their social distancing. All that stuff was tested beforehand. Notice how it was a 2-day shakedown cruise and not a 28-day announcement, test cruises, forms to fill out, tests, and then get approval for passengers because they've been working with the health officials in Singapore for months now to do this. They worked hand in hand coming up with these guidelines and coming up with these systems. And so they said, if these are the systems you're using, then you're approved for sailing. Wouldn't that have been simple? Wouldn't that have been amazing to do? Seems like everywhere else in the world can do it except us in North America. And I include Canada out of that too. So don't think I'm picking on the United States. When I say here, I mean North America, Canada, and the US. But great news, let's stay positive. They are setting sail. They've capped their first cruise. Now these cruises are for people who live in Singapore area only. So it'll be local cruises for 2 to 4 day cruises to nowhere. It's going to stay on the ship for a while. You just stay on the ship, you're enjoying the amenities of the ship. They're capping the very first crew at around 1,000 passengers. This ship can hold well over 5,000 passengers if it needs to, so that's a significant drop. They are still limited to a maximum of 50% capacity, but they have all the guidelines in place. The new medical systems are on board, the cleaning, the new ventilation systems, and all that is all in place. So they are really looking forward to setting sail and actually having a ship that they can actually see how their protocols are working and with passengers and see the response and all the stuff that's going on. Of course, the Quantum of the Seas has all the goodies, right? You have the beautiful sportsplex on those ships. You have skydiving. You have surf simulators. You have the North Star observation tower. It's one of the truly magnificent ships. If you've never been on a large ship, if you go on an Oasis or a Quantum class, your jaw can drop if you've never actually been on a ship of that size. And they truly are beautiful, and they have some of the best Broadway shows at sea on these ships. So lots of dining, lots of places to spread out, lots of places to get around, and protocols. Now, sailing out of a foreign port. How would that work? Does Singapore, what's the numbers? It's Asia after all, remember? That's the hotspot. This is where it started, in China and all. So, I'm nervous. Well, if you look at the COVID cases in Singapore, they are down around 3 to 5 a day. 3 to 5, not 1,000, not 100, not hundreds of thousands, 3 to 5. And the city is close to 6 million people. So it's not like it's only a $200,000 population or a 500,000 population. It's a large, metropolitan, beautiful city. And they've managed to keep the cases way, way down. by having really strict, really strict systems in place at the beginning when they locked down. I mean, they locked down. None of this half and half, none of this, and it was somewhat, they locked the country down, that city down area. So, good news in Singapore, they're going to be able to take a cruise. Now, before you get all excited and you say, hey, I can fly to Singapore because it's one of the places that the CDC actually say is safer to fly to. It's actually safer to travel to there because of the COVID numbers that they have. If you look at the Royal Caribbean website, you try and book it, there is nothing. You're not allowed. It's only for people of Singapore right now. That can change in the future, but the very first cruise coming up for Royal Caribbean is way up in April of next year, sailing out of Singapore. So they're hoping that the restrictions have dropped a lot and they're allowing more ships and longer cruises and maybe ports of call at that point, that they'll be able to resume their normal operations with limited capacity and everything in place. So before you think that you can, maybe, hey, I can't go here, I can't go there, maybe I can fly there and feel pretty safe about it with the way the numbers are over there compared to the way they are here in North America. North America, our numbers are way up. Canada, way up. Britain, way up. USA, way up. Singapore, way down. Australia, way down. Some places seem to be doing it right, and we seem to be having a little bit of a hard time right now. So fingers crossed on these vaccines. Fingers crossed, right? But good news for Royal Caribbean. I'm very glad that they finally have a ship sailing somewhere from their own fleet. And they can get their own numbers and their own test subjects and their own data from their own protocols. And they can spread that out to the rest of the fleet when we start sailing here in North America. Anything that they say, hey, you know what? We should be doing this a little more often, and then pass it on to the ships here. For instance, you know what? We noticed that we were cleaning the elevators twice an hour. We think we need to do it 4 times an hour during peak periods after the shows and stuff like that. That's all data that they can now gather while this is going on. So that's really good news. A beautiful ship. I kind of wish we could fly there, although that 11-hour flight to Singapore on an airplane with no restrictions, I don't know if that's... I wouldn't fear the cruise ship, I wouldn't fear Singapore, but I might fear that long flight. That very, very long flight. No, I don't think I'd risk it right now anyway, but it's tempting, is it not? It's so tempting, especially when you know that area is so low in the cases. Well, I hope you appreciate this little bit of good news, a little good fortune for Royal Caribbean that they're able to set sail with their ships. And it looks like one country is doing really well this way, and hopefully all the information we get from there helps us even better when we finally get to restart here in North America. Well, I hope you liked this video. If you did, please give it a thumbs up. Want to see more tips, more tricks, more travel vlogs from around the world? Hit that subscribe button. Till next time, have yourself a safe and a great vacation.